Hey guys, I'm Ryan, and on this episode of Baking with Ryan, I'm making an ombre cake. This is one of my all-time favorite cake designs because it's super easy to do, but the end result is amazing. All you need is a couple bottles of food coloring, frosting, and cake layers. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. The ingredients you'll need to make the cake are 3 6-inch chocolate cakes, vanilla buttercream, a cake comb, and 2 different food colorings. You can use whatever colors you like. Begin by leveling the cakes. I'll link the leveler that I used in the description below. After leveling the cakes, divide up the buttercream into 2 bowls. Add approximately 1/6 of the frosting to each bowl. Now add food coloring to each of the bowls. The first 2 bowls are going to be the darkest shades of frosting, so you can add a pretty good amount of food coloring. Once your frosting colors are fully combined, add them both into piping bags without a tip. You'll want to reserve about 1/3 of the frosting for later. Then place both of the piping bags into a large piping bag. It's time to assemble the cake. Begin by piping a dollop of buttercream on top of the cake board. Then place down your first chocolate cake. Next, pipe out the frosting that we put into a piping bag earlier in the shape of a spiral. This will give such a cool effect when you cut into the cake. After that, place down the second layer of chocolate cake and pipe another spiral of multicolored buttercream. Now place down layer number 3 of chocolate cake. I always like to place down the top layer of cake upside down. This will give you really sharp edges. It's time for the crumb coat. Begin by piling on top of the cake a ton of vanilla buttercream. Next, spread out the frosting using an offset spatula. Once the frosting starts hanging over the edges, you can spread it out on the sides. Before putting the cake in the fridge to chill, spread out the frosting one last time using a cake smoother. Put the cake in the fridge for 20 minutes or until the crumb coat is hard. In the meantime, color the remaining buttercream using the same food dyes as you did before. Just add different amounts of food coloring. Now put all of the frosting colors into separate piping bags and begin piping the ombre stripes. Start with the darkest shade of one of the colors, and then pipe a ring around the sides of the cake. The second ring that you pipe is going to be the second darkest shade of whatever color you're starting with. After that, pipe a ring that's the lightest shade of the same color. Then we can move on to the next color. Now instead of starting with the darkest shade of the next color, we're going to start with the lightest shade. The reason I'm doing this is so that the lightest shade of the first color is going to transition perfectly into the lightest shade of the second color. There's a lot of space at the top of the cake to fill in. Fill this in using the darkest shade of the second color. And I'm saying second color because you can use whatever colors you want here. Then pipe dollops of frosting on top of the cake that are the second color. If you use all 3 shades to pipe dollops, it's going to add even more ombre to the top of the cake. Now smooth out the frosting on top of the cake, and then we can smooth out the frosting on the sides. Just like before, use a cake smoother to smooth out the frosting. I'll link the one that I used in the description below. As you're doing this, be sure not to move the cake smoother. Just hold it up to the side of the cake and spin the turntable. After you're happy with how smooth the frosting is, it's time to comb the cake. There are so many different types of cake combs. I'll link the one that I used in the description below. Just like the cake smoother, you shouldn't be moving the cake comb, you're just spinning the turntable. After one spin around, you should be good. Now all that's left is to smooth out any buttercream that's sticking up. The last step of this process is putting dollops on top of the cake. I just used whatever excess frosting that I have. It's best if it's the second color. Also, be sure to pipe the dollops on the outer ring of the cake. For an extra touch, you can even add some sprinkles on top. The ones I got are from Neon Yolk Shop. And the cake is done. All that's left now is to cut into it. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and check out all the other cake videos that I have on my channel.